Welcome to the May 3rd, 2021 Jamestown Rotary meeting. Please welcome Chris Anderson, who will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by the four-way test.
Pledge allegiance to the flag
To the flag
of the United
of the
States of America, to the republic
for which it stands, one nation,
under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, the four-way test. First, repeat after me. Is it the truth?
Is it the truth?
Second, is it fair to all concerned?
Is it fair to all concerned?
Third, will it build goodwill and better friendships?
Will it build goodwill and better friendships?
And fourth, will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Thank you, Chris.
Welcome.
And Marion Beck will lead us our invocation.
Wonderful. Let us pray. Creator and sustainer, we are thankful for this day that you have given us, for its blessings, its opportunities, its challenges. May we appreciate and use each day that comes to us. We pray for strength and guidance for each day as it comes, for each day's duties, for each day's problems. May we be challenged to give our best always, and may we be assured of your presence with us. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. Well, it's time to recognize our visiting Rotarians and guests, and I'm going to welcome Assistant District Governor Michelle Starwalt Woods, and she has a guest or two.
Morning, everybody. Or afternoon by now. Goodness. I was telling Sheila before the meeting started, it doesn't pay to get up at 5 o'clock to start answering emails because they still don't seem to be answered. I'm not sure if Robin's on board. I don't know if I see her. If she is, I extended the invitation to your Rotary Club meeting to 3 of our newest Dunkirk-Fredonia Rotarians. And I'm taking them to all the Area 16 meetings in Chautauqua County. Then I'm going to be taking them to a couple on the Canadian side of the border, and then one also in West Seneca, just to give them a better understanding of Area 16 Rotary and District Rotary as well. So thank you. So I just wanted to introduce right now Sheila Starkey-Hahn. Sheila is an immigration attorney. She and her husband live in Fredonia with their 2 children who attend Fredonia Central Schools. And Sheila and Lisa Fortna, a seasoned Rotarian from our group, actually chaired the Great Lakes Watershed Cleanup. And I know some of you folks, Ruth, and a few others from the Jamestown Club, PM Club, came to our cleanup. So really appreciative of that. And Sheila, if you just want to say hello and any important facts you may want to share, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks so much. Thank you for having me. I mentioned earlier, but not everyone was here, that my husband Gary works for the National Comedy Center. We moved here 2.5 years ago. And it was, for me, a homecoming because I'm from Buffalo. I grew up in Snyder, went to Amherst schools. And Gary has been a lifelong Lucille Ball fan. And 15 or 16 years ago, we went to a Lucy Desi days with my parents. I've never seen my dad laugh as hard as he did when he took a picture of Gary between a Lucy and Ethel impersonators. And said at that time, wouldn't it be a dream come true if you could get a job here, Gary, so that we could live near my parents? And thank God my parents are alive and doing great at age 88. They live in Williamsville now. And for the first time in 30 years, I can jump in a car and go visit them on a moment's notice. So just glad to be part of the beautiful Chautauqua County community. Thanks.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Any other visitors? I'm looking. We have our speaker here. Rovegno is here. I'm looking in the list. Hold on. Okay, it's just our noon family. All right. Well, welcome. We're happy you're here, Sheila, and very happy you're here too, Michelle. And I'm really happy Leigh is here. So let's welcome Foundation Committee Chairperson Greg Jones, who will lead us in celebrating the May birthdays.
I am now speaking to you. Okay. So it is absolutely a wonderful time to celebrate birthdays. And it's our club's longstanding tradition that during your birthday month, you donate some amount to the Rotary Foundation. How much you donate is just strictly up to you, but we many years do reach 100% of people giving to the Rotary Foundation. Many people use a guideline of $1 per year, and that adds up if you're up there a little bit. And a really great way, and more than 50% of our club members are also a member of our club's sustaining club, Paul Harris Sustaining Club. And that is a commitment of $100 a year, usually given on your birth month for 10 years, equaling $1,000. And once you get up to $1,000, then you receive a Paul Harris Fellow. However, our system is that you can actually receive it as soon as $500, because once we have you up to $500, then you get a drawing number into the selection process. So the closer you are to $1,000, the more chances you have to win. But the deal is, if you win early, you still have to make all of the payments. So if you have any questions about that, all you have to do is shoot me an email or give me a call, and I will be happy to get that information to you. So I was thinking, why do we give to charities and to Rotary, which is a charity? You know, we are the most giving nation in the world. So why do we do that? And there's good reasons to give to charity. And one reason to give to charity is because it just makes you feel good. When was the last time you threw a buck in the Salvation Army bucket and walked out of the room saying, geez, I'm sorry I did that? It just doesn't happen. Giving to charity makes you feel good. It also actually strengthens your personal values, because it just means that you're thinking about things that are truly important. Another thing is that it gives you, well, it actually is more impactful now because of the situation with COVID and so many people out of work and charities being behind in collections. So it's really very important at this time to do that. Also, giving is important because it teaches your children a good habit of generosity. And personally, was my example at home. My parents really never talked about it, but I could see them giving all the time. And giving is not only money, but giving is also giving your time. And giving is also encourages your friends and family to do the same. So those are 5 great reasons to give, and to give to charity is a great charity to give to. When I was doing looking for information for the birthday table, I noticed that many pages of members are not really updated. So then I said, let me dig into that. And only 30% of members have updated in the last year. So if you haven't updated your page, please go ahead and do that. You enter the data you want to update, push enter on your computer, and then don't forget to click the save box. And if you do that, then it will be saved. Also, if your picture isn't in there and you have a picture in your computer, you can upgrade your picture to your site very, very easily. So please do that. Now, here we go for the birthdays. And we don't have too many this month, but we're going to start out with Megan Barone. And Megan was on May 14th is her birthday. Anthony is her partner, I think we call it today. She is the Director of Development for UPMC Foundation, and she graduated from the University of North Carolina, and she joined us in December of 2011. So happy birthday, Megan. Next is actually an honorary member. She was a member, but now she's an honorary member. And that is Lillian Ney. And Dr. Ney was born on May 14th. She's a retired physician and also a city council person. She's also a retired president of the Gebby Foundation. She's a graduate of Wells College and the SUNY Buffalo School of Medicine. She was proposed by Jennifer Harkness and Dudley Erickson, and she joined our club in 2008, and she is a Paul Harris Fellow in 1982. Vincent Horrigan is next up, and Vince, born May 17th, his wife's name is Barbara. He is a retired guy from the Air Force. He flew planes for quite a while. He was a past Red Cross executive director, retired county executive, which is a good position to hold. And he also retired from being a director on the Chautauqua Lake group. Kent State University was his bachelor's degree, and Troy State is where he got his master's degree. And he was past president 2002, 2003. Dudley Erickson proposed him. He joined us in 1999, and he was past president in 2004, 2005, and he has 2 Paul Harris Fellows. Happy birthday, Vince.
Thank you.
Tim Edberg. Tim Edberg, May 20th, and his wife is Leanne, and Great Lakes Consulting Group of UBS Financial, and he is a senior vice president wealth management for that group. He got his JCC Associates in Science from JCC, SUNY Buffalo, BS in Chemistry. He had the inklings of going to become a dentist for a year or so, but he decided to make a change in careers, which can happen. He is a proud member of our Paul Harris Sustaining Club, so thank you very much, Tim. And he has 2 Paul Harris Fellows. He was past president 2005 and 2006, and he joined us in 1999.
Thank you.
Kevin, you betcha. Kevin Sixby is getting close to becoming our president. He's president-elect. And his birthday is May 22nd. Megan is somebody he knows very closely. He is working for USI Insurance Services. He is a vice president, commercial property and casualty. I didn't know this, and I should have, but it says here colleges attended Syracuse University, Baldwin Wallace, and JCC. He got a Paul Harris Fellow in 2016. He joined us in 2015, and he is, of course, president-elect. So happy birthday, Kevin Sixby, and good luck in your year. Mary Schiller, she's one of our newer members, and Mary birthday is May 23rd, and she's married to Charlie, and she is a partner in Fezzik & Lawmer and D'Angelo, so she is an attorney, obviously. She went to Duke University, so past Lieutenant Governor Stan Lundeen would be very proud of her. The University of Buffalo Law School. She joined our club in April of 2000, and she says here she was a Paul Harris Fellow in 1996. So happy birthday to Mary Schiller. Irene Dobies, she's been with us for a little bit. Irene joined us in 1990. She is married to John. John was a pilot for one of the airlines that flew successfully in and out of Jamestown. She was a past director of the Small Business Development Center. She also was a Paul Harris Sustaining Club member. Thank you very much. She claims Robert Morris University for a BS in Business Management, Buffalo State College for an MS in Education, and Buffalo State College for MS in Education, because that was entered twice on her sheet. So 2 times is good. She is a Paul Harris Fellow. So happy birthday to Irene Dobies, who joined us in 1990. Todd Allen. Todd Allen's birthday is May 27th. He works with Morgan Stanley Wealth Management. He is first vice president of wealth management. He graduated from Elmira College, so you know he's kind of smart. He's a Paul Harris Sustaining Club member, so thank you very, very much, Todd. He is a Paul Harris Fellow 2002 and 2017, and he is a past president 2014 and 2015, and he has been with us since March of 2008. So I was thinking, I love to hear us sing, so please unmute yourselves because it's just such a great cacophony of sound. So I think we're going to sing on the count, after the count of three, Happy Birthday, Mayflowers. A 1 and a 2 and a 3. Happy birthday to you.
Happy
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Mayflowers. Happy birthday to you. No, this group never disappoints me in their singing. I hope we didn't scare those new members to the Rotary clubs up north away. By the way, we had a drawing for the free lunch, Rotary lunch, which may someday appear. And the free lunch goes to Mary Schiller. So I hope she's listening or will listen sometime. Oh, great. So you get a free lunch, and happy birthday to all. It's been a pleasure.
I'm going to ask you to mute yourselves again, not because I didn't enjoy the singing, but I have to tell you that the Zoom app asked me if we were playing music and would we like to set up a professional audio. It didn't think we were too professional, I guess. Well, anyway, announcements. Let's recognize Sue Jones, who is working through recovery, recording what's happening today for our newsletter. Thank you, Sue. You're in all our prayers. Leigh, I'll ask you to unmute yourself and report on the highway cleanup. While you're doing that, I will share a little picture I took. Leigh, are you still there? Hello.
Hello.
Okay. Looking for Leigh. Well, we had highway cleanup on Saturday, and whoops, there he is. Oh, Leigh's trying to connect. Here he comes.
Yes, I'm having internet connection problems.
Talk fast.
Okay. Well, we had an enthusiastic group gather. It was 11 or 12 people. I didn't actually take an actual count, but we had little chilly weather going out, but it warmed up and we had a great time. We collected a lot of trash, disposed of it, and cleaned up the highway. I wanted to thank everybody for showing up and for participating with such great enthusiasm.
Yep, Leigh is chairperson of that committee. Past chair has been Torgan, Kevin Sixby, and David Painter were there, along with Melissa Myers, Marion Beckerink, and myself. And of course, little Ben Sixby was there for moral support. All right, let me get out of it. Yeah, wonderful. Okay, other announcements. Committee chairs. Ruth, do you have anything for May 22nd?
No, nothing new to report. I just hope everyone has on their calendar that we'll be doing a watershed cleanup on May 22nd along the outlet, and we hope as many people as possible can participate, and we hope to borrow the stickers from the highway crew.
Yeah, we'll be there at 8:30. Would that work for everybody? Work a few hours and be done. Thank you. The district is holding a virtual interactive training day on May 15th. It's a Saturday for a few hours in the morning, 8:30 to noon. And our own Sherry Kroll is involved in the planning. So please consider registering. You've gotten a number of emails already from Penny Hutton about this. It's a great way to learn about Rotary, what other clubs are doing, how to sustain membership, how to bring in new members. It's more than that. It's all sorts of things, learning all sorts of things how Rotary operates. Sherry just put the link for registering in the chat box.
Joni,
Yeah.
Chris is doing
Go
the
ahead.
newsletter because my computer just died.
Oh my goodness, there's some kind of disease going on around here with computers. Oh, go ahead, Chris. All right, see, Chris is doing everything. Other announcements, anything from literacy?
Yes, Literacy has a committee meeting scheduled this Thursday at noon, and we'll be making plans for our next two Rotary Radio Classic performances. And we would love to hear reactions from those of you that listened to our program. So you can send those reactions to me or Marion or really any member of the Literacy Committee, because we'd appreciate your feedback. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I will be sending out another survey this week about getting back together in June at the Doubletree. We'll hold hybrid meetings if we can. And so I don't know if you think that's a good idea. Raise your hand if you think it's a terrible idea. Terrible. Only hands for terrible. Terrible. Wait, Vince, it's for terrible.
No,
right.
I think it's great. I think each and
Okay.
every one of us should find a fellow Rotarian and invite them personally to come to that, to get back together, because that's what we are all about.
Yeah. So I will be sending you a survey and I will gather information and I will keep you informed. So hopefully we can start that in June. But I have to talk to the board about it too. So I can't do it all by myself. And here's just a little teaser. I believe we have a treasurer, a candidate for the treasurer position. The board will discuss it on the 21st and I will be back with you on that information. So thank you to this wonderful person for stepping up. So quickly, let's do some happy bucks and then we will have our speaker. Remember to unmute yourself.
I'll throw in a happy buck. My husband and I and some friends went to Lancaster or Ronks, Pennsylvania to see a Sight and Sound production of Queen Esther. And it was my first opportunity to go to Sight and Sound. And it is phenomenal, unbelievable. So, I'll throw in some happy bucks for that. And we had great weather
Wonderful.
too.
Good.
Well,
Go ahead.
apropos to the day, so on Saturday, I went down to the Audubon Community Nature Center, and with this wonderful group of birders, I was able to see 52 different species of birds in 3 hours.
Wow. Paulette, you have something? Paulette, I see your hands raised. Okay, Vince, go ahead.
Yeah, this weekend, my wife and I will be flying down to Tampa for our first granddaughter's graduation. She will be graduating with a bachelor's degree in theater and performing arts. So stay tuned for actress Megan Horrigan to hit the stage, but we're very excited about that. First one, granddaughter.
Yes, yeah, we saw that you shared her recital on Facebook. It was phenomenal.
Oh, neat. Yeah, she's pretty.
Yeah.
She's pretty cool.
Paulette, I'm still giving you some time if you want to say anything. I think she's trying. Okay, Michelle, what do you have to say?
Just wanted to thank those, your folks who came down for our Great Lakes watershed cleanup. That was just an amazing day. I said it really was the true embodiment of what Rotary is and stands for. Having so many different groups involved, having Rotarians from another club involved, it was sensational. Just want to put in a plug for the Foundation Gala, which is going to be coming up very soon. Actually, it's on the 12th of May. It's $100. That's the minimum amount, and it goes all the way up to a couple $1,000s. There's a VIP intro that's going to have International President-elect Jennifer Jones as the speaker and greeter. That comes at a little bit higher of a price tag. But the good thing is, for anyone who does decide to join that evening, it goes towards your Paul Harris contributions. So it's going directly to the foundation. Yes, it is a donation, and you still will get credit for it. So that's exciting. They're also having a slew of celebrities who are going to be there. An international well-known bartender is going to be doing some shtick, I guess. And then the guitarist from the band Rush is going to be performing. So they have a lot of great things going on. And again, you can find out that information on the district website. Thank you.
Thank you. Paulette just let me know she raised her hand in favor of the hybrid meeting, and I feel good since she's a public health official. Thank you very much. Okay, let's move on to our speaker if there aren't any more happy bucks. So Tori Ergen, take it away.
All right. So when I was given the month of May for programming, I think it was Ruth Lundeen who inspired me to have a focus on the environment. So you'll see sort of a loose environment theme with our programs. And honestly, it's always hard to narrow it down to just a few things. There's so many great causes to learn about. Today, I'm very pleased that Leigh Rovegno, the Executive Director for the Audubon Community Nature Center, is able to join us. And she is doing service above self today, as she's not feeling all that up to, she's a little under the weather, but very rugged and willing to still speak to our group. Just a little bit of background about Leigh. She actually relocated here to serve as director of the Audubon Community Nature Center after the retirement of Ruth. Ruth went off my screen, but she's still there somewhere. After Ruth's retirement. So Leigh joined Audubon in the summer of 2018. She moved here from Colorado, where she was living, and she brought her husband, Brian, and children, her daughter, Charlie, and her son, Noam, with her. And they're living in Lakewood, and her children go to Southwestern. So I always love the story when we gain new people to our community, and they love it here. When she was in Colorado, she was working at the Denver Botanic Gardens and really oversaw their community supported or CSA program very successfully. So she brings a ton of experience and passion to her work at Audubon. And of course, she had no idea she would come here to run a nature center during a pandemic, but she is, and she keeps doing it. And we're really glad that she's retooling and refiguring everything. Most of you know a lot of what Audubon does is deliver programming in the schools, which looks very different during a pandemic. So I will let Leigh share with us a little bit about a new project they have at Audubon and anything else she'd like to offer.
Thank you so much, Tori. And yeah, I apologize for my voice. We are experiencing allergy cold season here in our house, and it's really extra fun with COVID happening all at the same time. So I hope I don't cough on anyone, but if I do, it's okay. I'm at home. I can't hurt anyone. So thank you for having me today. Thank you for the lovely introduction, Tori. And yeah, I'm going to share my presentation here in just a second and start with kind of a background on Audubon. I wasn't exactly sure what everyone's point of reference was. So just wanted to kind of provide some of that background and what we've been able to accomplish. So let me, okay. Hopefully everyone can see this now. I guess someone give me the some kind of high sign if you're struggling to see me, because I can't see you anymore. So yes, we are, I represent Audubon Community Nature Center. We are at 1600 Riverside Road. Hopefully you all have been there. But again, what is Audubon Community Nature Center, and sort of what have we been doing for all these years with the community? So if you, in case you have not yet been to visit us, we're down here where this little blue marker is, just south of Jamestown, and really just north of Warren, Pennsylvania. So we draw a pretty wide variety of folks from both New York State and Pennsylvania. Lately, really more broadly, because I think a lot more people are looking to get outside and spend time in nature. It's one of the only things that people have been able to do very safely over the last year. So we have actually experienced a pretty significant increase in the use of our trails and outdoor facilities throughout COVID, which has been exciting to see. So since 1957, Audubon has been a part of the Jamestown community. We formed as a chapter of the National Audubon Society in 1957. And I just kind of uncovered this picture, which Ruth probably maybe knows what year it was from, but just a great example of the types of situations you might encounter at Audubon. Do a lot of outdoor programming with kids. We focus primarily on elementary school aged kids, but we do offer programs for a wide variety of ages, including adults as well. So this is the original Nature Center building that was built, I think, in the early 60s and was expanded in the early 90s to what it is today. So what are we, and what do we do? These are the three words that really come up. And when we were discussing in our strategic plan, you know, what are those three pillars sort of that represent Audubon? And it's really nature, obviously. We have about 600 acres of land that is open and accessible to the public, and education. We go into the schools, as Tori mentioned, typically in a normal year. We also do a lot of programming at the Nature Center, and community. We have a ton of volunteers and a huge membership base. So really that people part is really important to Audubon, and that mission of connecting people to nature to provide those really healthy experiences in nature. So again, nature. So we'll start with that one. This is a beautiful picture that heads out the trail right alongside our bluebird field. And like I mentioned, we have about 600 acres of property, and within that, about 6 miles of trails that take visitors by ponds and upland forests and fields and vernal pools. We've got tons of different ecosystems all within this one property, which we're very, very fortunate to have. So it's a really lovely experience for people to just kind of take a break from everything and take a walk, go see some birds. As Ruth said, she saw, I think she said 52 species in 3 hours. We were biking and birding yesterday on Presque Isle, and we saw 40 species within 4 hours. So she's got me beat, but she's also an excellent birder. So I'm still working on that skill myself. But it is amazing the amount of birds that come through this area, and just how much you can see this time of year in the spring migration, but also in the fall, which I'm just learning so much every day that I work at the Nature Center. So yeah, other than birds, there's lots of other wildlife that can be found at the Nature Center, including lots of really unique species of salamanders. And we do have river otter on the property, as well as some beaver, muskrats, all kinds of critters we find evidence of. And yeah, lots and lots of nesting birds, especially this time of year. We do have a few observation towers, which are favorites for the kids to hike to. Kind of gives them a good destination point and gives them that little bit of a bird's eye view of the property when they're visiting. We do have boardwalks that take you across a couple of our ponds. You can see the cross-country ski tracks. That's when we have good snow, which we had some this past winter, where people can come out and ski the trails because they're nice and flat. again, just kind of providing that up close, more personal experience with the ponds and waterways. We also have a bunch
Leigh,
of, oh, yep.
can I interrupt for a minute? Vicky, you need to mute.
Sorry,
Please.
I
That's okay. It's okay.
those computers hate me.
No. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, I can't see anybody, so thank you, Joni. We also, we have a bunch of decorative gardens. This is our native garden, which this photo was taken, I think, quite a while ago because the garden is quite full and lush now at this point. But it features all plants that are native to this region. So it kind of provides that educational opportunity for people to learn about what they can do with the native plants, and not just by, sort of the standard perennials from local garden shops. Because native plants obviously support our native pollinators, and we are always happy to do that, happy to support those butterflies and bees and everybody else. Something new in the last, I guess about 4 or 5 years is our outdoor nature play area. We've been kind of expanding on that area each year with the addition of this guy, Tank the Turtle. We also have Sarah the Salamander now that are climbable features. And the idea behind the nature play area is really just unstructured free play. That's something we feel is really important part of early childhood development. And it's something that is kind of being lost from a lot of educational experiences and from the home. Most kids aren't going outside as much as they used to. So that's really what we are pushing and focused on at Audubon, is just getting them outside, getting them muddy, getting them comfortable, being outside in nature so that they make that connection and want to dig deeper and understand why it's important to protect the environment around them. The Grisey, Ted Grisey Arboretum is pretty unique. It's it's one of those areas that I don't know how many of our visitors actually spend time in, but it is a collection of over 60 species of local trees that were all brought to Audubon by this gentleman, Ted Grisey, and planted all in one area. So they're all from northwestern Pennsylvania and southwestern New York. And the collection keeps growing with our very dedicated volunteer, Larry Brown, who is up to now 11,000 hours of service he will be recognized for this year. So we have to kind of keep setting new milestones for Larry because he keeps breaking all of our existing records. But he just gave me a new map of the Arboretum, and it's even more trees than before. So he's constantly rethinking, what needs to be replaced, what should we have 2 or 3 of to make sure there's always at least one healthy tree. It's definitely his life's work, which is pretty amazing to see. So as I mentioned, this was the old part of the building that we saw in that earlier photo. This is the full nature center now that overlooks, this is the backyard area, and way out, if you're looking out those windows, you can see Big Pond and lots of the other ponds that are on our property as well. We do offer meeting space. Obviously, that has not been very active in the last year, but it is very helpful for people that are looking to do trainings and that sort of thing for employees. And then our gift shop. These are some of the more unique items that we sell in the gift shop that were created. This Rebel Nature Journal was created by Audubon staff members, and then this Audubon artwork was just recently created by a Rochester artist who was commissioned to create a piece that really represented our Audubon, our site in particular. We do have a bunch of indoor exhibits that are open for kids to enjoy. We have had to obviously place some limitations on that with COVID, but we have been open. The building has been open since, I guess, to the public in August of 2020. So we did close in March through June, and then we reopened just for day camp to get through the summer, and then reopened to the public in August. So we have had the building open since then, despite COVID, with obviously very careful cleaning and limitations based on room capacity. Now, this room is really fun and wonderful addition. This is the upstairs floor. It's our indoor nature play area in case the weather isn't quite right for outdoor nature play. We did introduce this, I guess, in 2019. However, again, with COVID, we've had to limit it to reservation only. So families can reserve the space, just come and play for a little while, get out of their own house, which is still really nice, and let their kids kind of run around without any, the concern of too many families in one place. So that's been a nice option for people to utilize throughout the pandemic as well. And our live animals. So we've got a bunch of reptiles and amphibians, and of course, Liberty. She is probably what we are most well known for. And actually, just today, I'm missing it. I'm so sad I'm missing it. But we just received our 2 hellbenders, which are giant salamanders that are found locally around this area in very clean and clear streams. Those we have taken over from RTPI, who decided that was no longer an exhibit that really fit within their mission. So we were happy to take on the hellbenders because it really fits within what we're doing. And, we have a bunch of other animals, so it really kind of supports that program and adds to it in a different way. So yeah, we're very excited to be able to have the hellbenders in the house. Education. So yeah, this is one way we kind of redesigned our quote unquote classrooms. This was a picture, I think, from this past fall of our outdoor classroom program. So that was a new program that we introduced in lieu of our classroom programs for kids that weren't attending school on a daily basis. So a lot of kids were in school for half days, some kids were every other day. It was kind of all over the map. So we decided, well, there's going to be a need. Let's see how we can fill it. And this was one of those ways. So the goal was to really keep the kids outside as much as possible, not only for COVID concerns, but also really to get them comfortable being outside and preparing to be outside and thinking, what should I wear? What am I going to need? All of those things that we're teaching them on a year-round basis anyway. So this was kind of a fun little experience for them. My son participated in a bunch of them and always said, "Are we going? Is it in the one in the tent today?" It's like, "Yes, the one in the tent today." So it kind of added to the experience, I think, a little bit more for the kids, which was fun. And so yeah, we did do quite a few classroom programs, and I will warn you, a lot of these photos are pre-COVID, so that's why kids are staying close and unmasked. So don't panic. But yeah, we do offer quite a few different programs, and all of the school programs are catered specifically to the curriculum of the teachers. So it really ties directly into what the kids are already learning, and kind of gives them that hands-on approach to kind of fill in the gaps and bring that learning to life. So this was a program that one of our teachers would have done previous to COVID. And I'm happy to say we actually are already back in schools, which kind of took us by surprise, which is a wonderful surprise, starting in April. So we've had quite a few schools calling to schedule classroom visits again for the spring. And I think we do have a couple of field trips coming this year. Typically, May is our busiest month with field trips. We've got buses rolling through every day, packed with kids that are ready to head out on the trails and learn about what they can find in nature. So we do a lot of inquiry-based learning, where we really encourage the kids to ask questions and kind of work things through themselves versus a direct lesson sort of oriented program. So we are looking forward to getting back to that in the future. Hopefully next spring, we'll be doing a lot more field trips once things progress a little bit further with the pandemic. Bird banding is something that we also do, and it's a program, but it's also pretty incredible research that's happening. And Ruth could probably speak much better to this than I can, but it is pretty amazing. There's a group of folks that come out, and they sort of they very delicately trap birds with these mist nets in order to be able to measure their weight, their size, their gender, and they actually tag them with these little bands on their ankles to help track them and to track not only their number but their also migration patterns. So it's a national program that really kind of is looking at the health of the different bird species as a whole. And that is a really, really unique experience that not many people know to take advantage of. It happens early Saturday mornings, starting in May, and I think it goes through July, but I could be wrong about that. I apologize. But I have been once with my kids, and that it totally blew their minds. And it's just a really amazing look at birds and just how different they are from each other, and all the different qualifications that they're looking at in order to assess their health. And what was most inspiring to me is it's a lot of college kids that are really passionate about birds and the environmental field. So it's really neat to see the next generation kind of carrying that torch, so to speak. And again, bird counts. So that's something that Ruth and I both participated in this weekend, the annual birdathon. So we do multiple bird counts throughout the year. Again, part of that sort of annual tracking of what birds are being seen where and how many, and sort of keeping tabs on their overall well-being. Our most exciting sighting this weekend at Presque Isle was a great horned owl and its fledgling, who had just left the nest yesterday or the day before. So on Saturday, the fledgling left the nest. And so we were able to see the mama and the baby, super fuzzy ball, sitting up in the tree. And they were sitting kind of a little bit of ways from each other, but definitely kind of close enough to keep an eye on one another. But that was pretty special to be able to see. Nest box monitoring is also part of that program as well, kind of separate on its own. But that we have over 100 nest boxes on the property, and volunteers go around and check those on a regular basis throughout the season to kind of see who's in there, if anybody's in there, are there eggs in there, have they hatched, have the babies fledged, and we record that information as well. And monarch tagging also. So part of our annual Monarch Festival event that we typically do, we raise hundreds of monarch butterflies from eggs that are found either on our property or found locally by community members, and they bring them to us. So we raise those butterflies in order to release them into the wild, and we tag them so that, again, they're being tracked and sort of monitored on a national basis to be able to, similar with the birds, track to make sure, how many are there, how many are surviving, that sort of thing, because monarchs are one of those species we're all kind of keeping an eye on right now. So that program's been happening for quite a while at Audubon, and it's a lot of fun to be able to see the monarchs and learn about them at the festival, but then we see them all released into the wild after that's all finished up. Little Explorers, that's another program that we offer on a regular basis, and that one's been great. We were able to offer it virtually, and during the initial phases of the pandemic, and we've switched back to in-person with limited capacity and masks and everything. But the reason I like this program specifically is because it's intergenerational, so very few of our programs are. It's designed for the adults with their child to come and both learn together about a particular subject in nature. So it's kind of teaching the adults how to engage with children in nature at the same time, which is really its own type of skill, which we found as we are educating kids more. We're like, oh, parents kind of need some of this too, so maybe we should focus on that. So this is a great program that really looks at both ends of the spectrum, kind of creating those connections at the same time. And day camps, we offer full summer of day camps, and also throughout the year during school breaks. So this year we did 2 days of day camps like on, I think on each of the school breaks, so February and on Easter break, and most of them filled pretty much all the way to capacity. Some of them we had to wait list because kids are home and parents want to get them out of the house, which we're happy to do. But again, it's getting kids outside, exploring their natural environment and building relationships with each other. I think it's really interesting being a new person to this community. I think having Audubon, not really as a parent, not just as a staff person, but as a parent, where my kids can build those relationships and connections so that when they're out and about at school or at the grocery store or on baseball teams, it's this like network of kids that find each other and they know each other, and there's this deeper sense of comfort and trust with each other because they've been playing in the woods and, you know, building forts and stuff together. So that to me has been absolutely invaluable as a new person in the community to find that sort of base. So I'm very happy that that's been there for my kids as well. We are doing regular nature walks right now too, to again just kind of get people outside and show them what there is to see outside at Audubon in particular, especially this time of year. Every week it's changing, the colors are changing, new things are blooming, you know, new things are leafing out. So it's a really great time to visit the nature center. And we have lots and lots of events. And this slideshow is much longer than I realized, so I apologize. Every year we do quite a few events. Hopefully some of you have participated in them. The Snowflake Festival, which is in early February. Audubon Lights, which is a newly remodeled event. We did do a holiday light show quite a few years back, and we brought it back this year in March, just recently, and it was absolutely wonderful. And thanks to help from the Community Foundation, actually, to help us purchase the startup materials. Now we can do it again. So again, it was one of those opportunities of looking at what we can do with COVID. We can have people outside. We can set up a trail that is beautifully lit and showcase our property in maybe a different way than people are used to seeing it. So it was a really successful event. And I told the staff that the spring peeper frogs were just such a classic addition. And I just wish there was a little more volume control, because by the end they're like really peeping in your face. So that was an unexpected and pleasant surprise that added to the ambiance of the natural ambiance of the event. Dragons and Fairy Festival was also a pretty new event that will be coming back this year for June 19th, 2021. Again, looking at that more mystical side of nature and just kind of having fun with that with kids. And as I mentioned, the Monarch Butterfly Festival, we will be doing that this year. It'll be on August 28th. And Enchanted Forest, this is probably one of our, if not the most popular event, and that happens in early October. And it's stations of animals, well, people dressed as animals, and the kids kind of trick or treat their way through and talk to these different animals and learn a little bit about them along the way. And yeah, it's just a fun, non-scary Halloween time event for those little kids that aren't quite ready for the haunted hayride type stuff. And yeah, that brings us to community. So these are a handful of our very dedicated volunteers. I loved this picture because John over here looks like he's having a really good time. But yeah, it's a pretty incredible community. I again came in as a very new person to this area and to the Audubon community, and I was a little nervous when meeting all these volunteers who've been there for 15 years or 10 years or 20 years, but they were all so warm and welcoming and inviting, and just such a great group of people. So we have usually over 300 volunteers that participate in such a wide variety of things, from planning, helping us put up events, to, you know, processing checks, to all kinds of stuff. So we rely on them very heavily, and they really are our extended family, is kind of how we look at them as a staff. So we wouldn't be who we are without our community of volunteers. So we are incredibly grateful to them. So when you were saying, Leigh, roadside cleanup, I was like, oh, wait, I didn't think, wait, is that me? I was very confused. We also do a roadside cleanup along Route 62 each year. We actually just did ours on April 24th, so just a little bit earlier than y'all. And that's always a fun event, and we usually try to get some younger folks involved with that. And also we have a whole garden crew of volunteers. Janet Forbes here, she volunteers, I feel like, in every single organization locally. She's incredible, but she's our garden chair, volunteer chair. So they do lots of incredible stuff with the kitchen garden at the Audubon. And believe it or not, this picture was actually taken before the pandemic. So maybe we were anticipating the next year coming. But yeah, we do have a staff of 10 year-round employees, 7 of which are full-time and then 3 are part-time. And yeah, this is our motto. This is our very unprofessionally made banner that we decided. This is our official staff motto. So far it's worked out pretty well, but you know, times get tough. We pull the banner back out, we'll just slap it back up on the wall, and it works great. So more of our community, yeah, we have over 1,000 members and supporters, and all of that money, the membership money, stays local, so it stays within our organization. So although we are a chapter of National Audubon, we are our own 501c3 nonprofit. So all of that membership money goes directly towards supporting our nature center. So that's pretty incredible. We are very lucky to have so many people that support us within the community. So what we've learned this year, this is a big topic, and it probably could take me a very long time to talk about, but I will keep it brief. One thing is, you know, that's very, very important to us is that we really want to be welcome and open to all. At that, I think for this time period, was really, really important to us. And we saw how important it was to the community. You know, we saw a lot of new faces showing up at the nature center, using the trails. You know, we kept signs up to keep people safe, and we, you know, kept cleaning out the beaver debris to make sure the trails didn't flood. And although we were, you know, kind of at very minimal staff capacity, it was really important for us to keep the trails open and accessible for people to be able to use, to take advantage of those mental and emotional and physical health benefits of just being outside in nature during a very stressful time. So that has been a huge lesson. And actually, since we installed some trail counters, which we actually had never had in the past, so those were installed in September. We've counted an average about 1,000 people that are using the trails each month. So that's based on a couple of different points where we're counting. So we're still kind of working out the kinks, but we've never been able to actually track the number of people that are coming to our site other than who comes into the building. So it's really going to be really interesting to see how many people are actually visiting the trails versus coming inside of the nature center, to really be able to show, wow, this really is something that people are taking advantage of, which is wonderful. So nature is essential. Again, I think I already spoke to that. You know, that was very clear to us during the pandemic, especially, that how important it was to have access to nature for people. And a lot of new people that were looking for stuff to do, maybe had never visited before, or just hadn't been there in a long time. And some of our volunteers, you know, this is one of our garden volunteers who just was like, please just let me come garden. I need to do something. So providing those safe volunteer opportunities during the pandemic was also really important for people's mental health, to keep them going and have something to look forward to, have something on their calendar. So that was a pretty big takeaway from this year. Being flexible, obviously, and adaptable is part of survival. So that is probably, yeah, the most important lesson that we've learned throughout this year. This is Chelsea Jandrew, one of our nature educators pre-COVID, visiting a classroom. You know, all the kids are right there. She can interact, she can see their eyes, she can have those direct, you know, that direct contact. And then obviously switching to a more virtual style programming where you don't know really if kids are paying attention or if they have a question, or, you know, you think it's hard to organize a group of adults on Zoom. I mean, I can't even imagine elementary kids. So yeah, the educators did an absolutely incredible job of just switching that, you know, switching to virtual very quickly. And we actually delivered it was over 160 virtual programs just in last April and May alone. So when schools shut down in March of 2020, between April and May, yeah, we delivered over 160 virtual programs for schools, which was a lot, which is wonderful. I'm glad we were able to do that. And give all that credit to the educators. They're absolutely amazing staff. We also realized a lot of stuff can still get done. That I think was also very surprising considering all of the challenges. One of which was the completion of the repairs to Spatterdock footbridge, which had been kind of slowly sinking down into the swamp muck over the years. We were able to make the finishing completion of that and raise it up so that it doesn't flood and so easily and freeze. And then this is one of my favorite photos from my work from home situation. So most people don't notice at first, but my son is actually sitting in this tree out the window. So that was my parental supervision. As my dog is sitting on the couch, I have my SBA loan information, my PPP stuff happening over here, and my computer at the ready. So this was, you know, I was still able to get things done surprisingly well, considering what an interesting year it was for all of us. So that is also, and my kid did survive. He's still okay.
Leigh, we're going to have to wrap up. If you can finish quickly with this, then we'll have at least time for one question, okay?
Sure, no problem. Sorry, I'm taking longer than
No
I expected.
Yeah.
And yes, so we did start construction on another pretty large project, the Pamela A. Western Wildlife Habitat, which you can see the layout here. This is the Nature Center building over here, and sort of the main entrance in our driveway. So this space is being built adjacent to Liberty's existing enclosure. And this was made possible through largely through the donation of an independent donor. And the idea is that the main structure will be our prep room. So where we house all of the food and supplies for new wildlife. Most likely will be birds, but in the future we don't know. We'll see. So it may transition to something else in the future. But for now, we're looking at additional birds of prey. So it will allow us to feature 3 more birds of prey in addition to Liberty. So the central room will be for storage and providing care for the animals primarily. And then it will be sort of surrounded on 3 sides you can see over here by additional enclosures that will each feature a different type of bird of prey. So that kind of shows you where we are in that process. And as construction continues, and we're very excited to welcome new birds, hopefully in the next year. So yeah. Oh, so that was my last slide. So a lot can get done even when you think the world is going down the toilet. So this was actually a new toilet we had installed, which was also very exciting for us this year. So
Well, thank you. Very, very interesting. Are there any questions? Not seeing any hands waving around or anything. That was very thorough. We appreciate you doing this. I know you don't feel very well, but it was beautiful. What was that? Okay. A donation, Leigh, will be made in your name and to help eradicate polio around the world to the Polio Plus Fund that is run by our Rotary Foundation, and hope they will vaccinate 4 children who will never have to suffer from polio. Thank you. Next week, we'll hear from Dan Stone, who's the arborist for the city, and he's going to talk about celebrating 40 years of Jamestown being a tree city. And I bet there'll be a question or two about the 3rd Street oak trees. So tune in next week. Thank you, everyone. And remember, Rotary opens opportunities. What opportunities will you see this week? And we're adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you, Leigh. Thanks, Joni.
Thank you.